Hello, in today's lecture we are going to discuss the topic of first unit, that is Introduction to the IoT. I am taking the reference of the book Internet of Things, a hands-on approach by Laila B. Das. You can also find this book on the internet. So these are the outline of the today's presentation. Among these we are going to see the definition of the IoT, characteristics of the IoT, and building blocks of the IoT. So IoT, I have taken the reference from these YouTube sites. So IoT, what is meant by IoT? Internet of Things is fully network and connected devices sending analytics data back to the cloud or data center. In simple words, we can say that the IoT is nothing but the machine to machine communication without human interaction. The definition of the Internet of Things is that it is just the network in which every object or thing is provided unique identifier and the data is transferred through the network without any verbal communication. That means what? Here a thing is provided which is having a unique ID and the communication is happen over the internet with the help of that particular internet connection. Scope of the IoT is not just limited to connecting things to the internet, but it allows these things to communicate and exchange data, process them as well as control them while executing the application. This means when you communicate or when you are using the IoT, this is not limited to the just connecting the devices, but it will transfer the data, that is transferring of the files, transferring of the any important information and processing this information for one's beneficiary. This is the formal definition of the IoT, a dynamic global network infrastructure with a self-configuring capabilities based on standard and interoperable communication protocols where physical and virtual things have identities, physical attributes and use intelligent interfaces and are seamlessly integrated into information network that communicate data with user and environments. What are the characteristics of IoT? First one is dynamic global network and self-adapting. Means in nowadays the Internet of Things is trending topic and it is a self-adapting. That means wherever you go, if you will IoT, then it adapt the changes with respect to the particular context or the changing context. Second, self-configuring, that is fetching latest software updates without manual intervention. If there is any update of the particular software, it automatically fetches that update. Third, interoperable communication protocol. It communicates through various protocols that we are going to see in our next lectures. Next, unique identity such as unique IP address or URI. The devices in the IoT have unique ID so that the network or the communication can happen easily. Integrated into information network. This allows to communicate and exchange data with other devices to perform certain analysis. Means the analysis can be done with a statistical data which is integrated into information network. So these are the building blocks of the IoT. First one is sensor, processor, then application and gateway. Let's see one by one. Sensors. As you already know about the sensors, sensors are the front end of the IoT devices. They really mean things in IoT. Things mean what? It is nothing but the component of that particular IoT network. Okay, sensor is the thing in IoT. The main task of the sensor is to get the necessary data from the surrounding and pass it further to the database for processing. Sensor fetches the data and passes it to the processing system. They must be uniquely findable from their IP address because they are basic front end interface in the large network of other devices. Sensor collect real-time data and can either work autonomous or can be user control. That means the sensor can be automated or that can be used with a human intervention. Example of the sensors are gas sensor, then water sensor, moisture sensor, heat sensor. Okay. Next building block is processor. Processor are the brain of the IoT system. So as we already known about the processor means it processes something. Okay, the main job of the processor is to process the raw data collected by the sensor and transform them to some meaningful information and knowledge. In short, we can say that its job is to give intelligence to the data. That means it processes the data automatically and give the intelligence. Processors are easily controllable by applications and their one or more important job is to securing data. The data is secured with the help of this processor. They perform encryption and decryption of the data. The data is encrypted into the machine understandable format and again decrypted for the further processing. Microcontroller, embedded hardware devices, etc. can process the data using processor attached within the devices. Next, that is gateway. Next thing or next building block is gateways. The main task of gateways is to route the processed data and transfer it to the proper database or network storage for proper utilization. Gateway means what? It is simple provide the route or the path for the processing data. The gateway is simply like a gate of our house. In other way, gateways helps in communication of the data. Communication and network connectivity are essential for the IoT systems. Examples of the gateways are LAN, WAN and PAN technologies, which we have saw in the computer network. Next building block is applications. Applications are another end of the IoT system. Applications do proper utilizations of the data collected and provide interface to the user to interact with that data. Applications are nothing but the applications which are going to used with in the Internet of Things technology. This can be the mobile applications. Here examples are given, that is smart home apps, security system, control applications, industrial control hub applications, etc. Thank you.